conversation is just that, it's conversation. It's dialogue. It's not giving closing arguments or pontificating or having the final word, right? It's conversation. So we might walk away from a conversation with more questions than answers. What, doesn't that give meaning?
Yes. Oh, I'll tell you something.
That's meaning? Okay.
Yes. So I was talking to someone's father. Now, I know his son, but the father lives like in Missouri. So I met him for the first time at a big event, and his sons were involved in the community, and so I know a lot about him. And I started saying, okay, so tell me what he was like growing up. And did you always think that he would do this? And, you know, and there were some pivotal times in his life, as everyone else is like, could you believe when that happened? And when it really got interesting, I said, what's your dream?
What's your dream?
And have you ever gotten there? And he said, I haven't. And he said, here's why: I had 5 children. And I didn't think, I had to be the breadwinner, and I never could follow that dream. And I said, that's really powerful. So let's talk about that fear. Why was that fear so big? I know you had a responsibility. And so then we went back to different things in his life, and it was fascinating. And we left that conversation, and he said, you know what? Maybe it's not too late to have that dream. This is a man who was in his 70s.
Maybe not.
Do you know that 3 months later, I saw him on stage singing?
No.
Yep.
Wow.
So,
wow.
I just think that's interesting.
It is. And the other thing that you might be having been drawn out of him, maybe not, was that maybe he got his dream. He got 5 kids. Oh, no, he said he was very thankful and had a lovely life. And then you start reframing. What's the dream? What's the dream? I know, I'm thrilled that he went on stage.
But you're right, yeah.
But it's that, you know, we had, the one other thing about the meaningful conversation that I just realized, when we were at Beauty and the Beast the other night, which was a great
fabulous
show, by the way, you were talking to someone, and I noticed this about me that I have to watch.
Okay, tell me.
You were having a very you're into questions, and I mean, you go right for the jugular. You were talking to this lady and and I came in and kind of interrupted, and you pushed me away. Do you remember? You pushed me away, like, wait a minute, because you were engaged with her, and I pulled back and I said, wow, that's interesting. That we have to be careful of. When the dyad's going, we don't need to be interrupting that dyad one-on-one.
You're right.
It's like, don't you think?
Because another person can change the dynamic, change the conversation, and you never get back to what was really fascinating.
And it's not intended to be interruptive, but it's very interruptive. And so I have to pull myself, because remember, I want to be engaged.
Of course.
I want to be in it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people do, so we have to be careful, because when there's something, remember?
I do now.
You were really trying to engage because you were fascinated with her child.
Yes.
And how well he was doing, and
what was next, and where we're going,
and how he got there, and who was she. And, I mean, you were all into it.
And how she really supported this, and the challenges.
So in order to get back to your graces, I went and got you a bottle of wine, and then I was loved again. Not a bottle, but a glass.
You're right. There's just the glass. But I will tell you that I did worry about hurting your feelings when I had to do that.
Well, and that's a good point. That's a good point, and I'm glad you made it. But it really. But
I really needed to finish that story, and it was intermission. Remember?
That's right.
And so I didn't have much time.
That's right.
So I apologize.
But I think the adultness. See, there's where the adultness comes in. It's like I knew it. I knew I was jamming the camera. I knew it, and that's why I pulled back. I didn't get my feelings hurt.
Yeah.
And because I think that's. So the next time it happens, you don't need to worry about guilt. Stay with the conversation.
Yes, thank you.
But when I'm talking to somebody who's hot, don't bother me.
Don't bother. Don't come in and bust in. And that's hard to do, especially when people are having great conversations.
Well, with
all want to be part of it.
With us. There's another topic we ought to talk about: boundaries of conversation.
Oh, I know, right? But my takeaway, and what I hope a lot of other people's takeaway from this is, don't ask questions that people can give you a one-word answer.
Yeah. How are you doing?
Good.
Fine. Good.
Yeah. Okay. That's our challenge this week. Everybody.
Meaningful.
Have a great week.
You too, Whitney.
Thanks. And you. More Weekends with Whitney after this.